Some of the bigger names nationally that Bozell and Jacobs worked on over the years, some of the brands were Chrysler, Jeep, Jaguar, the Milk Mustache campaign, Merrill Lynch, Excedrin, Taco Bell, Kawasaki. Pork, the other white meat, is one of the more famous ones, and we pitched and won that from the Omaha office.
But the most surprising thing is that this white meat is pork, the other white meat.
Yeah, one of the things that I find really interesting about Bozell and Jacobs and their tie to Omaha is you drive down the street in Omaha, you will see businesses that were built or maintained or made bigger by Bozell and Jacobs. Union Pacific is a great big rolling railroad because of the campaign that Bozell and Jacobs did. Mutual of Omaha is synonymous with Wild Kingdom because of the campaign that Bozell and Jacobs did. College World Series, Bozell and Jacobs were instrumental in bringing that event to Omaha. Boys Town is a internationally recognized name because of the promotional work that Bozell and Jacobs did here in Omaha.
It all started with them, Leo Bozell and Morris Jacobs.
These guys were the original entrepreneurs.
Two newsmen who decided to dabble in advertising and PR, and wound up creating a globally renowned agency.
There was never a formal decision, they said, to start the ad agency. Morris Jacobs says, we just sort of drifted into it.
At the time, Morris Jacobs was working nights, a police reporter for the B News in Omaha. Leo Bozell, a veteran of World War I, was serving as executive secretary of the Omaha Real Estate Board. The two became friends years earlier while working for the Omaha Daily News, Morris as a business reporter, Leo as his editor.
They realized at some point that they couldn't just report the news, that they could actually shape the news.
But they weren't ready to quit their real jobs, not yet.
When they opened the business, they had an office in the securities building. They had one desk, they had no phone, and one worked days, one worked nights, and they would share that desk. So it had to have been exhausting, but that work ethic really showed through. They would go door to door cold calling for business and pick up whatever they could. They'd do circulars, they would do annual reports, and as they said, it wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. And there's a great quote that Morris Jacobs had for that. He says, if you want to keep growing, you have to keep going.
In 1923, a seminal decision, their work with Nebraska Power compelled them to make Bozell and Jacobs their full-time gig.
Bozell and Jacobs built their business on the energy business. Nebraska Power was their first client. The success that they had with that led to getting other energy companies in other cities and other states.
By the end of the 1930s, despite the Great Depression, Bozell and Jacobs had opened offices in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Houston. In 1948, 2 years after the death of Leo Bozell, the agency established offices in New York City and Washington, D.C.
They gave them that place on the national stage.
Morris Jacobs, who died in 1987, retired in the late 60s. His son-in-law, Chuck Peebler, assumed control of the agency, moved headquarters to New York City, and launched an era of acquisition and expansion. By 1975, Bozell and Jacobs was among the 20 largest ad agencies in the world. By 1998, it was in the top 8, with offices in 51 countries. In 2001, the agency, now called Bozell and owned by Interpublic Group, came home.
Senior management from the Bozell office in Omaha bought the company back from IPG and became independent again.
Today's Bozell is an agency of about 50 people, a diverse set of talents.
One of the interesting things about Bozell today that might surprise Leo and Morris is that we're a 100% woman-owned agency today. I think if Leo and Morris saw the work that Bozell was doing today, they'd be very proud. They'd just say, yes, you guys are doing it right.
That extends to the agency's focus on philanthropy.
Morris Jacobs was fond of saying, we must pay rent for the space we occupy on Earth. And we take that to heart and we give back. Give back more than maybe our accountants think we should, but we're always donating work to charitable organizations. And to celebrate our 95th anniversaries, we held what we called Free Ad Day, where for one day, for 9 hours, we would give away free work to anybody who walked in the door. And in 9 hours, we produced 111 different pieces of creative for anybody and everybody, from small businesses to individuals to nonprofits. I think Leo and Morris would be very proud of that.
In tribute to the founders, the agency gives the Leo Award to one employee each month who demonstrates exemplary service.
But it's one of our ways of carrying their legacy forward into today.
A legacy of hard work and honesty, dedication and humility.
Leo and Morris were very humble. Their energies were focused on making their clients successful and famous, not themselves. But I know they'd be honored to be recognized in the Omaha business community for the mark that they've made.
Almost a century after the founding of their agency, a global icon born right here at home, we welcome Leo Bozell and Morris Jacobs into the Omaha Business Hall of Fame.
The message anybody can take from that is you need to ask yourself, why not, rather than say, no way.